I thought they were three great presentations, and it's very interesting to see the picture they're painting of a sharing economy, high tech. After high tech, almost want to say high touch, but high tech and travellers wanting more authentic travel experiences. And Dimitris, you showed us those pictures of people taking selfies, their use of mobiles. And it seemed, we were all laughing a bit at it. It was quite amusing the way things have changed. But it's almost as if people want to be more part of the world. They're taking selfies with the Mona Lisa behind them. They're showing what they're doing. They actually want to be part of the experience, which I think, Sophia, maybe is what you were talking about when you're talking about real travel experiences. So I see that as a positive thing. And people do want to be in the news. We saw that awful newsreel maybe a few months ago of the young lady in the back of the police car when her boyfriend was shot, and she was videoing at the time. People actually want to be in the world. So whereas on the one hand you might think that Generation Z is disconnecting themselves from real people by all using phones, and actually they're actually extending their world out there. Sophia, you talked about the sharing economy. And I just wonder if any of you have any idea what we might be sharing next, or have we shared everything that we can share now? Dimitris, you got any thoughts on that? The big thing in travel at the moment, as far as the sharing economy is concerned, are Airbnb and perhaps Uber as well. I'm sure that's not quite travel industry. Any thoughts on where sharing economy might be going, tourism-wise?
I think we need to go one step back. And people were always taking pictures in front of places of interest, with politicians, wherever. I used to be a photographer in my previous life, so I used to carry a big SLR Nikon camera. And selfie with that was a little bit difficult, but still we had a wide lens. Now, so the phenomenon of taking pictures in front of interesting things is not new. The more you go towards Asia, the more you find people who are very keen to be in the picture themselves. The more you go north and west, the less people are keen to be in the picture themselves. So in the old days, you'll find a lot of Americans, a lot of Canadians, a lot of Northern European guys going around taking pictures of interesting things, and that was enough. The Chinese, the Japanese, the Koreans will always be in the picture. It's a personal characteristic, it's a national cultural characteristic. So, the selfie thing is not new. What is new is how easy it is to do this, and what is new is that we are broadcasting that live here and now. And what is also new is the drive for authenticity that Sophia was talking about. Because what was happening in the past, you had the iconic things, the Eiffel Tower, the Big Ben and all the rest of it. And you really want to be in the picture in front of the Big Ben. Now you've been to the Big Ben, and the Big Ben is very accessible, so you'd like to go to East London and to have a real experience and have a curry and have whatever we have in East London. So so two things are different. One is how easy it is to do that, and two is how easy it is to broadcast live and to interact and engage with the world live. The impact of that is the reputation management live, and how organizations have got to be interactive 24/7 and to maintain their brand integrity and online reputation at all times in the best possible ways across the world, in all cultures, in all languages.
Okay, fine. Thanks, Dimitris. Who'd like to ask our panel a question? I don't want to dominate at all. Just pop your... Oh, yes, there we are. Perhaps we'll run the microphone round to you. And could you tell us who you are, where you're from, just to put your question into context? Thank you.
Hello, I'm Rolf from Norway, Simple View, Europe. I have a question to Sofia. I have been using Airbnb myself, and I've been very happy about it. What I see is that when you find an Airbnb place, it's sometimes in a flat that is completely for you and your family. And that means that we are competing more and more with hotels, And what about the hotel taxes? What about the community around? How can Airbnb be more part of the social economy? You mentioned some of it, but I know that hotels are getting more and more frustrated, or where do we go together?
I mean, this is a big issue that you must be asked all the time, Sophia, but for the travel industry, it's so important, and it's something that's great you're actually really involved with, so it'd be good to hear from you about it.
So, usually I do a presentation about regulation, but my brief today was much more about digital travel and preferences. Now, wherever we go, our community, as I said, is in about 191 countries. So every single country, and sometimes every single region, every single city, has different rules, laws, regulations about what it means to welcome tourists into a space, who is allowed to do it, how they're supposed to be doing it, what does safety mean, where is the limit between domestic, professional and non-professional, where's the limit between domestic and non-domestic. So as the community is growing, authorities are asking questions, and it's right and proper that they are asking those questions, and it's our job to see how our community is operating, see if we need to improve things, see if we need to change things, see if we need to advise. Now, we published in October last year what we call the Airbnb Compact, which is our promise of how we work with cities and what sort of things we want to do. Because we feel the Airbnb community is actually good for cities. If you think about it, over 74% of Airbnb hosts are outside city centers, and guests who stay with Airbnb hosts spend about 42% of their money in the neighborhood in which they live. So the spreading of tourist dollars or tourist money outside of city centers is really important, as well as the opportunity to experience the reality of a city instead of just the main sites. So this is why when we talk with cities, we help them find ways to craft legislation and regulation that is appropriate to a domestic non-professional activity. Now, occasional non-professional home sharers are the vast majority of our community, and that's the people I represent. As a platform, of course, you will find on our platform professionals with vacation rentals, professionals with boutique hotels, because we can be a very, very good route to market. Those people have their own laws and regulations, and that's absolutely fine. But I'm much more interested in home sharers. We've seen examples of good regulation around the world, Amsterdam, London, Paris, where they make things simple and easy for non-professionals to understand. And where we think that there are challenges to the way our community operates, we improve the product, or we improve access to information and solutions. For example, we just launched a neighborhood contact tool, where if a neighbor is concerned about a guest and has no way to contact a host because the host might be on a trip while that guest is staying in their home, they can contact Airbnb, share their concerns, and our team will take it up with the host and the guest. It's just one example.
Fine, thank you. Claire, let me ask you a question. The most amazing thing you showed in your presentation was actually putting advertising on your website doesn't seem to affect the bookability, or the conversion rates and bookings that you're getting through your website. I'm still surprised about that. Is there a kind of travel company where you think, actually, what, advertising just wouldn't be appropriate, or is it something that maybe every travel company should have a go at?
Well, people who are doing this don't obviously tend to advertise their direct competitors.
Right.
So, you wouldn't normally see a Thomas Cook site that's advertising, TUI holidays or vice versa. But where it's complementary, so for example, if it's an online website, then you might see links for airlines or for content providers, for Lonely Planet, those types of things. Then it's a win-win on both cases. certainly talking to some businesses who are very much more considered, you know, at the premium end, and actually just the thought of having any advertising, whether it was competitive or not, is an anathema to their brand. But when there is a lot of money on the table potentially to be associated with a premium brand, you know, your Harvard Business Review and Financial Times have been doing this for a long time, is by saying, I'm a quality website, come and advertise for me. I wonder whether it would even change amongst those people.
Okay, and certainly, of course, with like with everything online, you can actually test it and see if it works or not.
Absolutely,
Yes.
you know, multivariate testing, A/B, try it, suck it and see. If it doesn't work, if you get a reaction, you can take it off. I mean, that's something that, you know, is a lot harder to do in a bricks and mortar environment, but in digital, it's relatively straightforward.
Fine. Who'd like to ask another question? Yes, Tom. Just wait for Rachel to run down with the mic.
Thank you. I just want to correct one impression that Paul may have given you
I'm
earlier,
sorry
which is
about that, yes.
ETOA welcomes every intermediary. You cannot have too many tour operators. You cannot have too many intermediaries. You cannot have too many trade associations, by the way, but that's a separate point. What's interesting, and Demetrius touched on it slightly earlier, is that a lot of what we're seeing is actually very old. We've seen Uber arrive on the world transport scene and effectively take over what was totally normal, which was the minicab service, but transform it by its connectivity. But effectively what you're getting is a minicab service. Bed and breakfasts have been going on for a very, very long time, and there have been rows between bread and breakfast suppliers and hotels. I once attended a conference down in Bournemouth where the meeting of hotels and bed and breakfasts was rather like Millwall meeting West Ham in a pub in South London. You could not have had a more vitriolic row, and this was 15 years ago. So a lot of what we're seeing is quite old, and a lot of the controversy is quite old. But what's intriguing is that something new has arrived, which is the connectivity, and it's transformed it. And I'm just wondering what the panel have got. What's the next thing to be completely disrupted?
Thank you, Tom. And actually, I'm just keeping an eye on time. We've got to run on schedule here today. So that's a very good segue, Tom, into what I was going to ask. What's next that might be disruptive? But also, we're talking about new horizons in travel. So maybe Sophia, perhaps starting with you, and then Demetrius and Claire, if there's any time left, is just where do you think, what is the next big thing? Where do you think tourism and travel might be heading in the digital world? And if there's something disruptive that you can think of, as Tom suggested, it'd be good to hear. Sophia, any thoughts?
This is completely my personal opinion because I am a bit of a geek, but I really think that the how we create games or narratives or stories about ourselves and our experiences and who we meet while we travel is going to be a very, very big thing. It's not just going to be about a selfie. It's going to be about a combination of information, accessibility of the places and the people we met, that sort of thing. But that's just because growing up, I played too many video games, I think, and I would love for that to happen.
Which is your favorite video game?
World of Warcraft.
Okay, good to know. Thank you. Demetrius, any thoughts?
I think what is coming next is what it has been here forever. And I call it dancing with the customer. Do you really want to dance with the customer? Well, that is what Airbnb, Good Horse are doing. They are dancing with the customer. And Sophia will tell you the story for this morning. I arrive in this hotel with a suitcase, and the receptionist say, okay, take the steps up and go up there, because we are not connecting. It's not empathy. So what is the new thing is the old thing, empathy. Is really understanding the customer and dancing with the customer. And this is not new because the old guys, you know, the old bed and breakfast, the old hotels, the old operators, the successful ones, they were doing it. What is new is that this now becomes transparent because you've got the TripAdvisor score, you've got the Booking.com score, you've got an Airbnb score. Your old minicab If you had a good experience, it was great. If you had a bad experience, it was bad, and you were hoping for the best next time. Now you are rating the driver, the driver is rating you. So what's happening is that all this sharing economy is taking away the bad apples. So where is the future? The future is on value, and where is the value is dancing with the customer. Now, we need to realize that not everybody would like to dance with all the customers, so it's a matchmaking process. So the future lies to understand who are the customers that you would like to dance with, and who are the customers who would like to dance with you. Nothing new, but what is new is the transparency of it, the immediacy of this, and the ability of everybody to see everything, which changed incredibly all the game for the better.
Okay, fine. Thank you, Dimitris. And certainly with the transparency we've got, it can only drive up the quality of travel and tourism products. Claire, any thoughts?
Again, it's a personal thing, and again, I'm a geek, but VR and augmented reality, I think, are massive.
Virtual reality and augmented reality.
Yeah, massive opportunity. Just a few things. I was at a food and drink festival just 10 days ago, and I was put on a headset, and I was cycling through vineyards, courtesy of Veuve Clicquot, which, hearing about what was going on. This summer, I was at Pompeii, and Pompeii, it's been around a while, it's a bit of a ruin, and every so often somebody decides to, put it back together and show what it might have been looking like. And then, 30, 50 years later, somebody goes, oh, those people before were making a complete mess of it, and they didn't do it all right. Now, just imagine what it would be like if you just put on a headset or you had your phone. You could rebuild those structures without ever having to lift a single stone and potentially put it in the wrong place. And then some other academic comes along and says, no, you got it wrong. So what? You've not actually disrupted anything as you've gone. And the opportunities for changing brochures, for making it immersive, for giving people experiences, for putting people and really giving them things to see, I think is really exciting.
Good, thank you, Claire. It's been a great keynote session, ladies and gentlemen. Let's thank Sophia, Dimitris and Claire very much for their participation.